Howdy folks, Blake Williams here at the Milan Bluegrass Festival. We're in the 19th annual Milan Bluegrass Festival at the KC Campground. We have the wonderful Joe Mullins here with us today. I've known Joe probably for 30 plus years. He's one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, and Joe knows that he's always there when I need him. So I love him to death, and he's got so many wonderful things going on in his life. We want to try to talk about him just a little bit. Your broadcasting career, I mean, you was born with a microphone in your mouth, wasn't you, Joe?
Well, yeah. My dad was a broadcaster and a fiddle player, and by the time I was in high school, I was trying to become a banjo player and a broadcaster. I look back to about 1982. I was 16 years old, and I was on radio daily, and that fall was the first time that I played at a bluegrass event and got paid for being a banjo player. And that's when we first got acquainted at Bean Blossom, Indiana in 1982. But the two have served me well together. I learned if you're going to make music and create recordings that have a banjo front and center, the best way to get airplay is to buy a radio station.
Amen.
And I had a foundation in broadcasting and bought a local station in Xenia, Ohio in 1995, and came off the road for a few years to build a business, and was blessed in that effort because I was able to buy 2 other local AM radio stations, and now 2 out of those 3 have FM translator licenses with them. So I'm heard on 5 dial positions throughout southwestern Ohio. Within 100 miles of Dayton, Ohio, you can hear what I do in almost any capacity on the AM and FM dial. That's why the band is Joe Mullins and the Radio Ramblers. I've combined broadcasting and banjo picking for many, many years, and it's a solid foundation. I'm grateful to have a team of full-time broadcasters at our office in Ohio that can take care of things so I can make records and travel with a band and be in Milan, Michigan with some cool people.
You know, your stations represent the bluegrass and old-time country that we love so much. That area around Dayton, Columbus, and Cincinnati is rich with a lot of southern folks that moved up there years ago, and they love this music. And, of course, you can hear that music on myclassiccountry.com online. Now, that leads us to the next project you've just taken on is the Front Porch Fellowship. Tell us a little about that.
Well, just about to finish my first year with my first effort in syndicated radio. And Front Porch Fellowship has been an established weekend bluegrass program for several years, featuring bluegrass gospel for the Southern gospel radio audiences. And Singing News Radio is the top home for Southern gospel music, whether listening at singingnewsradio.com or on dozens of affiliate stations coast to coast. And Singing News Radio is a division of Salem Media, which is big, and they have radio networks and radio connections all around the globe. Front Porch Fellowship is the broadcast I host for those networks, and it's on almost 200 radio stations now every week. Most are gospel radio stations, but it's also on some independent stations, some country stations, some college stations, some community stations, and it's every weekend. It's an hour of bluegrass gospel music, and I feature a 50-50 blend of current bluegrass gospel and classic bluegrass gospel. So everything from the Stanley Brothers to the Becky Buller Band is on Front Porch Fellowship.
And that also is a nice place for you to play your latest project called Sacred Memories, which is really doing well right now. And you have a song off of that nominated for an IBMA award this year, correct?
Yeah, very fortunate. It's our second all-gospel album, and we released it in the spring, and the first single is one of those songs that paints a great picture. It's one of those story songs that folks can kind of hang their hat on and find themselves in somewhere. And so it's gotten airplay on secular radio as well as gospel radio. It's called All Dressed Up. Jerry Salley is one of America's favorite songwriters. His roots are kind of like mine. He's from Chillicothe, Ohio, not far from where I live now. And but he sent me the song, and our version's been accepted and been nominated for an IBMA award for Gospel Performance of the Year, and so we're very thankful. But Sacred Memories has a lot of those types of songs of faith and inspiration, but also story songs that folks can find a place in their heart for.
Well, and you've got God in your heart and a Christian background too, and we appreciate that. That shows through in everything that you do. And also, you have been a bluegrass promoter throughout the years too, and you have 2 festivals that you host each year.
Well, you say bluegrass promoter throughout the years. I got thinking back. Sometime in the 1980s, I started a concert series, had an American Legion Hall that held 200 people if the last 20 of them wanted to stand up. And I started doing concerts every month in the 80s, and I booked everybody from Ralph Stanley and the Clinton Mountain Boys to the Dale McCurry Band to Charlie Waller and the Country Gentlemen, right on down the list. Back then, did a lot of shows with the Goins Brothers and the Bass Mountain Boys and the Bluegrass Cardinals and the boys from Indiana. And, if you don't think you can sell out a 2,000-seat hall until you can fill up a 200-seat hall.
That's right.
So I kind of learned from the bottom up and started a Bluegrass Festival about 12 or 13 years ago now, with the blessing of having a radio audience that reaches that hotbed in southwestern Ohio. I've got that network of radio stations right in the center of that triangle from Columbus to Dayton to Cincinnati, Ohio, and there are thousands of Bluegrass fans in our area. And so we started at a convention center over a decade ago. The Roberts Convention Center is just off Interstate 71 between Cincinnati and Columbus, and it's a very comfortable venue. And we have a 2,000-seat concert there. We have a 2,000-seat festival atmosphere that's indoors, climate-controlled, and we've presented nothing but first-class bluegrass and bluegrass gospel there for many, many years now. It's a fall and spring event, and fall of 2016, it's Veterans Day weekend, and Rhonda Vincent, Larry Cordell, Larry Sparks, Junior Sisk, the Spinney Brothers from Canada, about a dozen of our favorite bluegrass performers will be there with the Radio Ramblers for our fall show in 2017. SOMusicFest.com. The event is the Southern Ohio Indoor Music Festival. So we do it in the fall, give everybody about 6 weeks to rest up after the outdoor concerts go on hiatus. And then we do it again, kind of priming the pump in the spring, the last weekend of March.
Yeah, it's a quality lineup. You won't be disappointed, and a great atmosphere. The Radio Ramblers are celebrating 10 years. The success and tremendous amount of touring you're doing right now has just been wonderful. When you started this group, did you envision the success you've enjoyed?
No, I didn't want us to go on stage and not be prepared, but we weren't prepared to be on tour full time this last 6 years. We kind of grew into that role, thankfully. We're blessed with opportunity. But again, that combination of broadcasting and bluegrass performing is what started the band. That's why we're the Radio Ramblers. And we started out playing radio events. Our radio station still every now and then gets a call from a big Chevrolet dealer or a nice furniture store and says, hey, we need you to draw us a crowd. We need a month's worth of advertising. We need a live broadcast. We're going to grill hot dogs and you're going to play the banjo. And that's how the band started, is playing flea markets and car lots and county fairs, and we still do some of that. And it's fun. That's the way the Stanley Brothers started.
Absolutely.
They was playing feed and seeds in the late 1940s in Bristol.
Drive-in theater.
Oh, yeah, and so it really let us build a band. But if you can learn how to do live radio and learn how to build a local audience, then you can take that to a regional audience, then you can take that to a national audience. And we were blessed with that opportunity with, I think, our second recording. Rebel Records picked it up, did distribution on it. Then we did our first all-gospel album in 2010, and we've been on the road full-time since 2011.
You know, Joe, you've got a great ear for music and a great love for the deep catalog country and bluegrass and gospel music in our industry. How did you arrive at what I call the band voice? When you got that material in this group, how did you want to present it?
Well, the trio of the Osborne brothers and the strong trio harmony going back to Flatt and Scruggs and Jimmy Martin and the Sunny Mountain Boys, I wanted to have a band that was vocally diverse. I was with the band The Traditional Grass when I was growing up in my 20s with my dad.
Great group.
And there was three of us in the band that could sing any part. And this band has been blessed with that vocal blend. Dwayne Sparks been on board in his fourth year now, beloved vocalist. Mike Terry's a founding member of the band, great mandolin man, but can sing any part and sing it well. And so the three of us have sang together continuously at 100 shows a year, plus several recording sessions a year for over 4 years together. Randy Barnes has been our bass man now for several years, and he's the fourth voice now. We got a quartet. Randy's a good bass singer. Jason Barry, a couple years on fiddle now, and he's got a great resume, and he's loved by fans and artists alike because he's first class. And so all the pieces are in place, and we're very blessed to have opportunity and thankful for it.
Joe, if you would, right quick, tell us where they can find you on social media and learn all about you.
Well, we're everywhere on Facebook, Facebook/Radio Ramblers, RadioRamblers.com. We try to keep it up to date. Our calendar of events is there. There's video there from some of our many Grand Ole Opry performances. So RadioRamblers.com, or follow us on Facebook, and follow us to Milan, Michigan every year. We're grateful that we're already scheduled back for the 20th anniversary event here at KC Campground in 2017.
Mighty thankful to know this man. I love him to death, and I appreciate you spending some time with us here, Joe. And I'm glad that you have become the great banjo picker and tenor singer that you are, because it's my understanding your first job didn't work out too well. He actually went to school to become a massage therapist. Turns out he was rubbing people the wrong way. So he's found his niche now with Joe Mullins and the Radio Ramblers. Thank you, guys.